All right, so I'll never understand this live streaming bit. Tells me HamRadioConcepts is not eligible for live stream. What a bunch of malarkey. So let's see, where am I at here? Should be live right now, and got the chat going. And everybody's probably waiting for the other live stream that has been sitting there. All right, Donald's there. Give it a minute for everyone to connect. Welcome everyone from Eric KJ4YZI with Ham Radio Concepts. And thank you, Ben's Tech Garage. Appreciate that. So I figured maybe I would practice a little more. And the last live stream I did, what was it, Thursday, was pretty fun, and a lot of people said, "Hey, wait, do some questions and answers before you go." So I figured, okay, another good time to practice, and maybe get some questions. And here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to set up something like maybe an IRC chat room or something that everybody can participate in easily, where we can just have a non-stop chat room going, and that might help. Get a couple people in there that like to hang out. Or people stopping in, stopping out, have questions, or people helping one another. I think that'd be a good idea. I think that'd be pretty interesting. I can jump in there and maybe share some links of some things that I think about real time, like live, because everybody can send an email, everybody can post on Facebook, but some people don't do Facebook, and I get that. So, I figured maybe if I set up something like that where we could have, because even a forum is not instant, it's not live. So right now this is live, and but it's hard to talk with everybody and answer everybody's questions. So that's what I'm working on now. I got to figure out how to do it where everyone can participate, and no drum solo, Tom. But where everybody can participate. So hello to everyone watching. Maybe in the future I'll get some more people or some more ideas where, live streams are a little more interesting. But again, I'm practicing on the live stream. So I figured maybe I'd answer some questions and get the ball rolling here. If somebody has a question, hello to everyone in the chat. Maybe, let's start with a couple questions or whatever. If someone's got any questions, or what do you think so far of what's going on with the latest videos? Hey, Shimano, glad you're late to the party, buddy. Shimano always likes to be the first commenter on the videos, yet he's like number 35 in the chat. Does anybody have? Give me a question. Start some questions here on the chat. I'm thinking maybe in the future I would do maybe email the questions. Give me email, I'll sort through the ones and see what everybody has an interest in, because I know there's some people that are still vague on the hobby and they want to know, well, what's a good place to start? What's a good thing to do? A good PSK laptop. Good question, Shimano. I have, PSK doesn't involve a lot, but what I would say is I have a netbook, an Acer D270, and it's not the best because it's like enough for email and web. And, so I would get at least something that's Windows 7 capable, at least has a dual-core processor, because if you're running something like Digital Master and then you want to have maybe a logging program on top of that running, if you have something like a basic netbook, it's going to aggravate you. I already went through that. It aggravated me because it didn't have enough juice to do what I want to do. If I close this, the window would close slow, and then go back into it, and I'd have to constantly reset it. So anything that's a dual core with enough RAM, maybe 4 gigs of RAM, you don't need much hard drive space, but anything like that would be all right for PSK laptop. Let's see. People try to work with. Let's see. What changes were made to the band plan? Yours looks different. Which band plan are you looking at? What do you think about 147.435? What about it, Aaron? It is a looks like a repeater frequency. I'm not. Maybe that's an inside joke I'm not aware of. Let's see. There was on the radio earlier in the background. I heard a HamRadioConcepts video playing. What's my favorite mode? There's a good question. My favorite mode. I think my favorite mode is Hellschreiber, and I've been trying to get this video out. Hellschreiber is another digital mode, and I wanted to show you guys about that. Hellschreiber, I'll give you a peek, is different because you know how PSK will decode, letters. And if you look at Hellschreiber and you watch, a video, Hellschreiber puts a little bit of your mind with the computer because you have to use your eyes to decode in poor conditions, whereas PSK and other ones, they'll just throw jargon on the screen and it'll distort, throw all kinds of letters and you can't tell, or maybe you can tell. But Hellschreiber uses like a ticker tape. And more noise is basically introduced into the signal. Like you can see a ticker tape with letters and what the message is, but then it'll add like some distortion or band conditions or noise would just look like, hash on the ticker tape. But your eyes can determine through that and see the letters on the ticker tape. It's a really good thing. I think Hellschreiber is by far one of my favorite bands. Maybe not as efficient as something like FT8 or JT65, but it's a conversation mode. I really don't care for the FT8. I think FT8's cool, where I can make a contact that easy, but the computer's doing all the work. PSK is another one of my favorites, but I think Hellschreiber is a really cool mode for myself. Yeah, and FL Digi, you could use that on a netbook. I just always use Digital Master, so Digital Master is what I'm used to, and it doesn't require a lot of resources either. So you could use whatever you're comfortable with. That's the great thing of the hobby. I could use whatever software I want. You could use whatever software you want. But I'm just saying, like a little tiny netbook with a 1.2 gigahertz Atom processor like I had is going to drive you nuts out in the field if you're really knocking some contacts out. Guys always say throw a wire up in a tree to get on HF. Do I need a counterpoise? That's a good question. Yeah, because they have like end-fed. There's throw a wire in a tree. So you could say that with a dipole. Throw a wire in a tree, like throw the Ballon up in a tree and just have the wires, strung out where you wouldn't need a counterpoise. But then if you use like an end-fed with a 9-to-1 un-in or unbalanced to unbalanced, sometimes they use. We did it at field day with the balloon. We threw the balloon up, and the balloon was pulling the wire up over the river, but we needed a counterpoise off the tuner to make that correct. So, yeah, sometimes you need a counterpoise, like the MFJ wire I have. I made a video on. I really never did too much on that video. I wanted to use it again on QRP, sitting right there in the closet. That MFJ wire does need a counterpoise. Now, I could throw that wire in a tree just like I did in the video. John, you should see that video, John's method of slingshotting the end of the wire up in a tree, but you do need a counterpoise with that. But, there's probably times where someone didn't use a counterpoise and it worked. Normally, end feds need a wire and a counterpoise for an end fed, and a dipole usually doesn't. A dipole usually, you throw it up and you got, one wire on each side, and you can do it that way too, if that answers your question. But it really is easy if you just say throw a wire up in a tree. Oh gosh, is CW still relevant in 2018? Oh my gosh. Go to the CW portion of the bands, and you're definitely going to see massive amounts of CW. Yes, it is one of my all-time things that I want to learn, because with CW, the cool thing is there's 1,000 different do-it-yourself kits that you can get and put them together with maybe a crystal for 40 meters, and you get a select frequency on 40 meters, or even a full-fledged HF rig or a QRP rig. But what they used to do back in the day was like tuna can or Altoids, or not even Altoids, tuna can transmitters. And they'd get this little 1-watt transmitter and stuff it in a tuna can and run an antenna wire outside of it and hook up a little homemade key or a paddle or whatever, and they'd get on the air with that. And that's the kind of stuff I want to do. But yes, CW is absolutely relevant in 2018. There's so many people operating. Again, there's people that will only do CW and people that will only do sideband and people that will do both. My friend Dwayne, K4LNN, you've seen on my videos on field day and stuff, he is constant on CW. I don't think I ever hear him on phone. but he is always on side CW, yes. What radios do you have in your car? I don't have any anymore in my car. I did have a standard dual band radio. It was a China radio. Then I did have for a while a 10-meter HF transceiver in my car because I love 10 meters. So that would do sideband. And I was afraid that it would get broken into and get stolen. For a while I had a Kenwood D700 dual band with the APRS running on the car. And then there's other ways of doing APRS. If I had it my way, if I had an HF rig in the car and I drove a lot, I would probably have something like a Yaesu 857 or an Icom 706 Mark II-G that would cover everything from HF, VHF, UHF. And both of those have a detachable screen kit. So it would be one of those two that I would have for a mobile rig. And that would cover all of them instead of having to have an HF, then a dual band, and then a handheld that can cover it all with like an 857 or a 706 Mark II-G, if that helps you out there. What all do you need to talk on Fusion with the Yaesu FT2DR? Nothing. You could talk on Fusion right with that radio. All you have to do is be able to talk through a Fusion repeater, and that's linked to a Fusion network with wires X, and you're good. Now you can use an HRI 200 interface and set that up with a Fusion radio at your house, and then you can connect that way. Myself, I'd rather use a radio RF into a repeater, that way. You could do it with the 991, FT1D, FT2D, but yeah, you can do it with the FT2D just with the radio itself, and really no registration at all. You just get on it and use it. You're welcome, Earl. What's the best multiband vertical out there? That's like saying who's the best football player. There's really a lot to go with. Now, I will say this. You've seen a lot in my videos with the high gain AV680, and I always hated verticals. I never used verticals. But when I got that antenna, MFJ had recommended it when I said I want to do these bands. I want something that's not going to be too high, but I don't want a lot of stuff in the antenna that can go bad. And that was it. And I've been totally happy with that because I don't have to worry about stringing up a long wire anymore, which I'm still going to put back up because sometimes a vertical, depending on the polarization of the person you're talking to and depending on the conditions, sometimes a wire will outperform a vertical and a lot of times. And sometimes my vertical will work better. And if I had the wire, I can switch between both. I like the high gain AV680. The AV640 is everything of mine minus 80 meters, and I don't talk on 80 much. And that's the next video coming out, 80. I was going to post tonight, but I'll wait. So there's a lot of verticals. You have to see what bands you want to use and what the size or how it takes. And another thing I like about this is I don't have to sink wires in the ground. A lot of verticals, multiband verticals, you have to use a bunch of wires. The more the better, but at least like 2 wires per band. The more, I know people that sunk like 300 wires in the ground to make a counterpoise for every band on their antenna. And that gets cumbersome when you're trying to do that in the yard. You have to use lawn staples and dig trenches and all that. The AV680 is supposed to be at least 8 feet high, and you've seen I had that thing, I have it right now, only like 4 feet off the ground, 3 feet, and it still does amazingly well. No traps. It's just got a radiating stub for each band. So I don't use a tuner. There's no tuner on my desk. I have a tuner brand new in that box up there on the closet, but I don't use a tuner because I tuned each band where I want it, and I just blast through the bands. I don't have to retune and do all that. So that's why I like the AV680 high gain. And then if you wanted something a little bit shorter without 80 meters, go for the AV640. And the Cushcraft R9, I think it is the same type of 9-band with a few differences in construction, but it'll do the same thing. But I think the high gain's a little bit cheaper. Let's see. Echolink popular. Absolutely. Echolink is always, with all these digital modes out there, I've said it in the video before with the NanoSpot, there's always someone that's never going to use digital. Always. There's some people that don't have digital in their neighborhood or in their area, and there's some people that live in an apartment, and that's their only means of communication to get on. You have to be licensed to use it. And, excuse me, some people, if that's, I used to be against that, but if that's the only way for a ham to get on, let's say they had to move into an apartment, and they had to sell all their stuff, and their wife said, look, we got to do this, or we're going to retire in this condo or whatever. If they can use Echolink to stay in contact with other people, then I'm all for it. That's just another facet of the hobby. And yes, there are plenty of repeaters that have Echolink built into them that you can access with a handheld. You can access through the internet. So you go in through the internet on your computer and you come out on an Echolink repeater somewhere else. For the people that don't know the Echolink, for the one that asked if you know Echolink, yes, there's still quite a bit of people out there that use Echolink. And I used to run an Echolink node myself, but I took it down. This was 10 years ago. And I had all kinds of fancy stuff, weather on the hour and weather alerts and repeater roulette. You can dial *#06 and it would just take you to a random repeater and all this stuff. Yes, Echolink is still popular. Let's see. I just realized I'm way up on this scroll here on the chat, so let me see where I was at. Good luck to Dan Baudelio for studying. Have I ever tried 80-meter full-wave loop? I did a 40-meter full-wave loop with a friend. An 80-meter full-wave loop is quite big, and I don't have the property for that. But I also did a 40-meter delta loop, which I put up wrong at the time. I put it up this way, and it was supposed to be this way, depending on how you feed your feed point is. But it worked well, and then I realized I had the wrong Ballon and everything. But I still got it to tune and work. But an 80-meter full-wave loop is definitely what I would want to use. You'll see in my 80-meter video coming up, I don't talk on phone portion, which they would call 75 meters. I only use really 80 for digital. So if I wanted to use digital and get a lot better antenna over the noise, yes, I would use a full-wave horizontal loop for 80. I did do it on 40 at my old house years ago before I even thought about being on YouTube, and it worked quite well. Do you miss not having UHF on your repeater, on your Rig Expert? No. I have my MFJ for that, but I also have something that I wanted to show you in a video, and it's a new thing from Rig Expert, and it's actually built on an Arduino. It's a board, but we'll get into that another time. But no, I don't really miss it. It depends on how often you use UHF. I mean, if you're using UHF quite frequently for a lot of things, it may bother you, but I think the 230 Zoom is a great antenna analyzer. I think it's just marvelous. The MFJ does a really good job too. I've compared it to, the MFJ doesn't do the graphing, and it doesn't do the multi-SWR, which I like a lot. But I can do without the UHF, no problem. For a while, I never even had a UHF analyzer. I had a standard analyzer that would only do HF frequencies. So it was a pleasure to get the one for 2 meters, let alone UHF. You should make content. That's coming up, Tom. Here's a good thing. Tom says you should make contacts during your live videos. I wanted to, some people do live stream while they're on the air, and I thought for a second, why does anybody want to see me make contacts live unless they were looking at getting practice from how I operate HF? So I thought, would that be worth it? But then I thought maybe I can do something like that. I could do it backwards, make a schedule to talk with people and at the same time broadcast it, is what I thought. And also I thought about maybe doing a net. I think that'd be really cool to do a net, Who's to say, why can't I do a net? Well, I mean, I've run digital nets and VHF nets and stuff plenty of times. Why can't I make an HF net? And I also want to do a digital net, like a PSK net, Olivia net, FT8. Oh, you can't do FT8 net. Hellschreiber net, Contestia, and stuff like that. There's a lot of digital modes I still want to show. Domino X, Thor, Hellschreiber's another one. There's a lot of them that I wanted to check out because I've always tried to play with some of them. Some of them work better than the others, but I wanted to do that. Do a live event with making contacts and at the same time. But I wanted to do that more QRP, but it's hard to do live QRP. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out ideas to keep this, interesting for you guys so you have something interesting to watch. You may consider a node. Well, I had a node. like I said, I had an Echolink node, but it is it's easy to set up an Echolink node just with a radio as a simplex node. You could look that up. KB9RLW is doing a live stream while on HF on the 19th. Cool, I'll have to check that out. Let's see, HellNet. Yeah, definitely. Well, there's people already doing Hellschreiber nets, and that's why I thought it was pretty cool, because Hellschreiber is a mode that is definitely disappearing, and I wanted to bring it back. So, in fact, if you're not familiar, I did the Olivia and Contestia videos and said, for the people that weren't interested, or the people that weren't aware, to get on other modes. And I got emails from countless people that said, Eric, I talked to you before on Olivia. We were the only ones out there. And now these people, one guy in Canada, he had all kinds of contacts to talk to after that video. He's like, you sparked up Olivia again. He's like, it's great. People are out here all the time. So I'm glad that worked. I'm glad that made an effect for people, Let's see. Did you have 21,000 of us then? Oh, no. God, no. Again, when I had my Echolink node, I was a tech, and that was in 2004, 2005 that I had an Echolink node. But I don't even remember how I did it, but it was pretty cool. Can you get on the N3KZ system and make a live contact? I don't have any. I mean, the way I'm very. What's the word? Oh gosh, I'm very. I guess call it stoned age. When you talk about how I'm doing this right now, I got like this poor stand just hanging there, like watching me, and I want to set it up to where I could move the cameras and have multiple angles and stuff, so I could show you the radio and stuff. But still learning that, But yeah, I'm definitely wanting to, make that a little bit better, and then I'll make some contacts. Right now, if I wanted to fire up something, I'd knock the camera over. So, what's the difference between a voltage Ballon and a current Ballon? Oh, Patrick. I know that okay, so between the two, I can't wait to get my antenna working. Yes, I know, Pat. I'll be over there to get your antenna working soon. A voltage Ballon and a current Ballon, without me trying to sound like an idiot. I know that one of them is for RF currents on the line, on the coax, if I'm not mistaken. I know that one time I used the wrong Ballon. I didn't realize there was a 4-to-1 current Ballon, and then there was a 1-to-1 voltage Ballon, or however it was, and found out that I was changing the feed point of my antenna using the wrong Ballon, and I won't even act like I know exactly what it is. I know that one of them is to keep the current from on the coax, if that makes sense, or that's a poor way of putting it. I'll get back to you, Pat. I want a definite answer on that. Hey, Eric, did you get that $5 from PayPal I sent you? No, actually, I didn't. I don't even know where those donations last chat came in. I have no idea where they went. They just disappeared, so no problem. But, Pat, you got me on yeah, it might have been that I forgot about it, because in the back room there's about 5 Ballons. I got this box from a silent key estate, and it had all kinds of, it had KLM Ballons that went to old beams. It had Jetstream Ballons in it, and it had regular Ballons that had no names on it. And I had to go to my friend's house for him to determine which Ballons they were, because I had no idea what they were, And at that point, I started researching the Ballons, and at that point I realized that was when I had the wrong Ballon, because on 80 I would get nothing but RF in the shack, and it was because I had the wrong Ballon on it. But Pat, I'm not sure what kind of Ballon you have. I forget. But I have a box full of them, so when we make your new antenna up there, if I can use a better Ballon than what you got, then we will do that. Yeah, keep me posted, Dan. Leave a comment when you get your tech. Let's see. Google Pay. Now they took away Google Wallet, and they changed it all up. It used to be Google Wallet, and then when YouTube and Google decided to make something different, I'm not sure exactly where that went, but I'll find it maybe. Have you ever built a Moxon beam? Yes and no. I built one and never got to use it, and I don't even know if it worked. But Moxons are pretty easy. There's plans all over the internet for those. MFJ makes them. They have some pre-made, and the one I was trying to make was for 10 meters. But I never really got the thing going. I don't know if it was going to work or what the deal was with that. But yeah, I've been recommended to make Moxons before, and it's a simple design, for a Moxon. It's a lot cheaper to. I think I built mine with Schedule 40 PVC and some wire, and it worked out. So Donald sent another donation. Yet I don't know where. Let's see. Don't know where that's going, but I will find out. How was my weekend? It's you want to know what I'm doing my weekend? I bought a Nintendo Wii U from a pawn store, broken, and decided to figure out how to load the software on it and get it back to square one so that I can enjoy Wii bowling with the wife on the game. So I got it for next to nothing. They said the software was corrupt and someone pawned it and they didn't test it, and then someone got it. And so I bought it for nothing, and then I worked on that for a whole weekend or so with a couple family members in town. So we all started playing Wii bowling. So I officially restored the Nintendo from being dead, and I think that was pretty cool. Let's see. Are you still currently using the 1835? No, I'm not. However, I do have the 1836 on the way. If that's the new model number of the new Cobweb, the original Cobweb is 5 bands, and 10, 12, 15, 17, 20. And the new one, the 1836, has 30 and 40 meters on it. And everybody wanted the 40 meters on that Cobweb, and they got it. So MFJ made a new one. So I have that on the way. We're going to check out the new Cobweb for that. So that'll definitely be a hit, because the original video I did with the Cobweb, putting it together and stuff, that antenna worked great. I'm not using it anymore because I took it down with the Hurricane and disassembled it. No, I'm sorry. I took it down and disassembled it for field day. And I said it's going to stay disassembled until hurricane season's over. Then I put it together before the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes game, I took it back apart. Then I made a deal with a friend for it. He said he wanted to use it and keep it up at his vacation QTH. So I did that. I didn't feel like putting the thing back together again. But I think around here, so many things change with different antennas or different ideas that I don't have nothing really permanent other than that high gain back there. 40 meter on a Cobweb, that'll be huge. I really didn't see the specs exactly on how big it'll be. I'm guessing twice the size of the 20 meter square, wire loop. But I think I also, you know what? I'll look at that right now. They had one that said 6 meters on it too, and I'm not sure if that was the same one or not. Let me look right now. Okay, so the 1836, I'm mistaken, adds 6 meters to it. And let's see what the other one is. So the one for add 6 meters, and here it is. The MFJ 1838, which is 6, 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, 30, and 40 meters with 1.5 kW full legal limit. That is going to be a Cobweb for sure. That might be a little of a video. Oh yeah, that thing's a lot bigger. But if it's got the same properties as the regular Cobweb does, then this should be a lot, really good. Let's see if that answered that question. Looking for an HF radio to buy. I've been looking around. I can't decide which one do you think is best. I mean, again, depends on what you want to do. Do you want to have VHF, UHF with it? Are you looking to buy used or new? Are you looking to have just an HF rig? Are you a menu-driven kind of guy, or are you a knobs and buttons kind of guy? That's a hard for under $3,000. Okay, so you got a good price tag on it. I mean, it really depends. You could get a 7300 for that, which is a really nice rig. Myself, I wanted the VHF, UHF. I would maybe favor the 991A, But then, there's the DX 1200, but then there's the ICOM 7600. I mean, there's so many different radios. All those radios mentioned are definitely good choices, but you have to weigh out what you want to do. And really, if you're looking if it's a first HF rig, you really don't have to think about this. You really don't have to spend $3,000. And I mean, unless maybe it's not your first rig. Okay, so, but rigs can be had for $1,600 that do everything you want, and then you could put the rest of that money into antennas and whatever else you want to play with. Maybe a better mic or something. Okay, this comes from EDC Comms. Completely blind. Thanks for your answer. Could you please help me with my Kenwood D74? I could try. Send me an email. I'm not sure exactly what I could help you do without walking through it with you on the email or something, or on the phone or whatever. I got to see the radio. I can't remember exactly all through the D74, but I'll see what I can do. Let's see. Lindsay Hicks got his tech the day before Harvey hit. Learning a lot. Thank you very much, and keep up with it. Yes, Tom, the 1835 HK34 is an add-on kit for the Cobweb, and I'm looking at the entire Cobweb to get, again, that does 6 through 40. But yeah, they do have an add-on kit as well. FT450, that's what I have. That's a great rig that does a lot. And if you're not interested in VHF, UHF, the 450D is a great rig. Yes, you can do everything you want with it. 7300, great rig, and has a lot of stuff built in for digital modes that you can do right out the back of the 7300 with all the fancy gadgets on the screen, touch screen. Really nice rig, and it's not as, I mean, that's a great price tag for a 7300. So there's definitely a lot of choices. I'm using a 450, FT450. So I have 6 through 160 meters and 100 watts with an MD100 microphone. That's what I'm using. ICOM 7000. I like that radio. I like the 706 Mark IIG from way back, which had everything, and the 7000 was like, actually, I think Patrick had a 7000, and the cool thing about it was he had a 9-inch external monitor that he plugged into the back of it. So people that are vision impaired, with the little screen on the 7000, you can have it on an external 9-inch display, or probably bigger. I like the 7000. It also has a detachable face on it, so you can use that mobile in the car. Put like keep the head unit, keep the main unit under the seat, and put the head unit here, the control unit, and then have a monitor right on the screen. Right on the dashboard if you wanted to. 7000 is a great rig, and they're still popular even on the used market. I know someone selling a 7000. A friend of mine here locally. You've seen a video on my YouTube with him. Any questions about that? Maybe he won't ship. I don't know, but email me and I'll pass along his information. Kenwood 2000 puts out 100 watts. You know what I like about the 2000? With the VHF UHF sideband, which I like. Like he said, the HT and crossband, they call it, what do they call it? The Kenwood has the Commander, not DX Commander, I got that in my head, the Sky Command. And you could take your Kenwood HT and control your TS2000 remotely from your handheld, and then you can have, connection between the TS2000 and a handheld. That's the great thing about the 2000. With APRS and an option of 1.2 gigahertz in that radio with an additional board for the TS2000. Although I've never owned one and I'm not looking for one, I know that it's a pretty cool rig for a lot of people that have it. What do you think of the 756 Pro 3? I like it. I know that one of those has a screen issue. I'm not sure if that's just the Pro or the Pro 2. A friend of mine, John, up north had one. He loves it. I've never used one personally. I know several people with a Pro 2 and a Pro 3, but I'm not too familiar with that, to be honest. But I've heard from them they have the 756 Pro or Pro 2 or Pro 3. I can't remember which one. I know one of them has screen issues where the backlight goes out and then it's an arm and a leg to fix. But I don't know physically too much about it. question. Some recommendations for inexpensive hams outside of the UV5R series. Okay. Then I'll get to Tom's question. Outside of the UV5R series, okay, inexpensive. You can go with something like the GT3TP, which is the 8-watt model of this for a Chinese radio. Also, and I say it Ushan, Wouxun, Ushan, but someone's corrected me before. That's what the manufacturer said. It's pronounced Oshan with a U, I guess. The Ushan models are pretty damn durable, I gotta say. Now, the basic VHF, UHF ones are upwards of $60 to $80, but the $80 and $90 ones have crossband repeat on them, so you can crossband from VHF to UHF, have that radio in the middle. Okay, connect that radio to an outside antenna, and then talk from your couch, say on VHF into that handheld, and then rebroadcast on UHF outside out your antenna, or vice versa. The Ushans have that, and they're less than $100. Definitely a decent radio. There's a lot of options out there for those Chinese or inexpensive radios. If you wanted to stay name brand, for inexpensive, the one that I just had for my giveaway, the Yaesu FT70R or 25R. Now I forget which one it was. I'll have to look right now. I think it was the FT70. Is a great... hold on a second. It's a great durable HT from Yaesu. That's like $109 from Gigaparts. Let's see if this is it. And you can get additional accessories. So I mean, think about it. If you're gonna spend $70 or $80 on a better Chinese, handheld to stay out of a UV5R, and then you wanted to spend a few bucks more to get something better, FT25, if that's the one I'm thinking of. So many things that, oh my gosh. And I got so many windows open on my computer right now. Let's see. Yes, the FT25R is a great radio right now. Gigaparts has it for $89 ready to ship for a somebody that. Oh, thank you, Signal Search, for the for the donation. I just got to make sure I know where this goes. Someone tell me where that money goes. Thank you for the contribution, my friend. I love your videos, buddy. Evidently, you heard my video on your channel, so thank you very much. But yeah, that's for the if you email me some more about the UV5R series handhelds or outside of those, I can give you a couple more recommendations with some links. But I'd say the Ushans are a little bit better built, and the cheap Yaesus are definitely worth the buck for a decent entry level handheld for inexpensive. What power supply are you using? The MFJ 4245MV. That is a 42 amp current, 45 amp surge, or 42 constant, 45 surge, variable voltage from like 9 to 18 volts, and it's got 5 amp outputs in the back and the full outputs in the front with a lighter socket, so I can plug in car chargers or phone chargers or anything that has to do with a cigarette lighter. I love that. It's got 2 meters on the front, voltage and amps, automatic fan, automatic circuit control. It's a great power supply, the MFJ 4245MV. Do you have an antenna farm? Absolutely not. I am your ham that likes to do all kinds of stuff with simple as possible. I have 2 antennas outside. I have the 3 antennas, I'm sorry. I have the high gain AV 680 for HF through 6, but it doesn't do too well on 6 that low to the ground. I have a loop fed array from High Gain, the LF-A6, 6-meter Yagi, 4-element, which is really good. And then I have the Cushcraft 13B2, which is a 13-element 2-meter, horizontal or vertical, depending on how I orient it, and massive gain on that for 2 meters. So I have no problem working sideband contacts up into north, on a good day in the spring, I could work from Central Florida to North Carolina on 2-meter sideband, states away on VHF sideband. So love that antenna. But no antenna farm. I don't like to be gaudy, and guys, you don't have to be like these people you see on YouTube with 200-foot towers with dual 20-meter beams on top. You don't have to have that to have fun. It's fun. You can do that, but having an antenna farm doesn't make you a better operator. Just, point of recommendation there. Do you have a Hampshire account? No. Astron 35. That's a solid linear power supply. Very heavy too. Would you recommend digital, analog, dual radios, or just stick with the standard hams? Digital, the D-Stars and the DMRs and the Fusion radios are fun. There's always going to be someone out there. Digital has blown up. I remember when I had a D-Star handheld before there was D-Star repeaters anywhere in the state. And then I had a DMR radio when DMR wasn't even popular yet. And I didn't even know what to do with it because there was nothing to do. Now there's repeaters everywhere for digital. But guys, remember this. If you're talking about digital, don't leave the guys on analog out. Always check into your analog repeaters and talk to the guys that have been monitoring and on that repeater for 15 years. That's where you met your friends before this digital started. That's where you coached new kids or new guys as an Elmer. And to leave them behind, I see a lot of people leaving the analog repeaters just to go and vanish. But, fire it up once in a while. Get on there and get a hold of a net. If they don't have a net, start a net on analog. Keep analog in there. Don't just let it go because digital. That's like saying everybody moves on to new cars and the old cars go to the junkyard. How many people do you see with antique cars that love them? It's just that's how I think. Let's see. I'll take a few more here. I didn't realize it's already 41 minutes. I'm having fun. I'm comfortable with this live stream now. I just got to get some interesting content here instead of this. I think great video would be proper ham shack grounding. Absolutely. I'll get to that. I will definitely, show you about the grounding and how you need to go to a direct ground with a proper ground rod and the way that other people do it. Daisy chaining is no good. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about there. I think you checked the ad revenue stats. I'll check that, Don. Thank you. I didn't see it in there this morning, but I'm not sure. Let's see here. Awesome, Elmer. Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to be out here helping you guys, and we're all together, man. We're all part of this. I'm not a guy like this talking to you. We're all doing this together. So I'm glad it's helping. I'm glad you're finding it interesting. Yeah, signal search is great. Thank you again. 7-3 Pat, good luck. Heard about people not liking the MFJ 868 large HF meter. Any thoughts of it? I haven't. Which one do I have? You talk about the large needle? I don't think that's the one I made a video on. I'm not sure. I can't keep track with every single product out there, but there's always someone that's sometimes there's a product that MFJ that doesn't go well, and I've had pretty good luck with them. There's been maybe a time or two in the past where something was wrong or didn't work right. And for instance, an auto tuner. Okay, I bought an auto tuner, and then I had an issue with it, and it still worked, but the screen wouldn't tell me if I was tuned or not. And they sent me a logic chip. I put the little EEPROM, put that in, didn't fix it. Saw them at Hamfest. I brought it with me, exchanged it right there. They're like, here you go, man. We'll take care of that for you. It's under warranty, whatever. I've never had a problem with them. There's a lot of people that say, mighty fine junk and manufacturing junk or whatever. But, there is some products that maybe had an issue in the past. But I'm not one of the guys that looks to go out of my way and find what everybody's having a problem with and then bash it, So I don't exactly know the 868. If that's the one that I'm using, let's see. Large needle. I'm not sure if that's I feel like getting up and looking at it, but I don't want to knock everything down there. Mine's been working. Well, I went to the digital one over here. The one I have up there was the original one I had in my videos, and the only reason I took it down was because I put the digital one here, which in my situation here works a little better. So with the lighting and eyesight and stuff like that. 53 watch and 21 thumbs up. Well, again, Don, when I get more interesting content on here, the live stream, maybe when I'm making contacts and stuff, maybe I'll make it a regular schedule. Maybe there'll be more people watching, but I'm happy to answer questions like this and get more comfortable with the live streaming. Thumbs up, people. That's right. Everybody, hey, you know what? You want to do me a favor? Because I know you're already thumbs up on all the videos. Go to Facebook and leave me a review on the side. I'm not telling you to lie. Leave a review for whatever you want. But right now, I have 5 out of 5 stars with nothing but positive reviews. And I didn't tell anybody to do that. And I thought, wow, these reviews can be helpful for people that are looking, finding my channel on Facebook. And, you know, the reviews on the side there, they stay there forever. And I just looked at it. I was like, wow, I got like 17 reviews, and they're all 100% positive. So however you want. If you hate me, put a review that I suck. But be honest and put a review there. No, you don't. Well, John, you don't have to put. I'm not saying put one. I'm just saying I'm not telling you to lie for people. I'm not telling you to say I'm the best there is. I know there's not. I know I'm not the best there is, and that's what hopefully makes me different. I'm not trying to be that way. I'm just trying to be out here with y'all. Have you used NFED on QRP? Yeah, I used it. If you look at my NFED MFJ video, again, I didn't do much on that, but we threw it up. John threw it up in a tree. We hooked it up and made a couple contacts, received some stations, but my counterpoise length was off at the time, and I think the metal flashing around the edge of the pavilion where the antenna wire was going was screwing me up. But yeah, I've used that, and the other NFED we used was homemade with the balloon on the video on field day. We let a balloon up with 2 bottles of helium. Jan had a part net project, and we let that up over the river about 100 feet. And Jim Davis was talking on there on that balloon, and it worked well. And that was on, I think, 40 or 20 meters on field day. I'm not remember. Let's see. What's your most favorite, best contact you've ever made? Would probably be Qatar, if that's how you pronounce it. Well, I don't know. There's see, I don't do the whole what do you call it? Logbook of the world. In fact, a lot of times all I do is log on QRZ, and the only reason I do that is because I'm looking up the person if I'm doing that. Sometimes sometimes people when I catch them on HF, they know who I am before I even establish the contact, and they're like, "Well, good job, Eric. I see you're using this. I haven't even. Why don't we should at least exchange information and talk about that." So they're already like this when I'm calling, and they pull me up, and then I have nothing. If I'm not doing that, I know nothing about them. So if I'm using QRZ, I hit the log there. And I think Qatar was, if I'm not mistaken, was a hard one for me because I think I was using low power and I was trying. And I didn't even really know where Qatar was. And then I looked up on the map and I'm like, wow, cool. I thought maybe that was a Pacific Islander or a Caribbean island. I didn't really realize back then. Maybe not the best with geography, but I mean, all my contacts though are my favorite. Even contacts in the U.S. And I've said before, I think in the last live stream, to me, if I can learn one thing from every person that I talk to when I retire one day, I'm going to be smart. So whenever I talk with someone, if I'm not just trying to bang out some contacts, I'll ask them a question. Hey, you're in Australia. Tell me about this or this. Even in Florida or where they're at, when someone's always got something interesting to say, well, we're 50 miles outside of this city in Dallas and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what's the best restaurant in that area? Or if I went there, what's the best place to go in that city? And learn one thing. So every one of my contacts, I think, are my favorite because I try to learn something from every one of them. But I mean, if you're talking about HF, there was one other one where I made a contact and I never got a card or anything. I don't really have but 5 or 6 cards here. I don't really, it's expensive for postage, so I have to send them a card to get one back. And cards are pretty cool. I have a bunch on EQSL, but I don't participate in that anymore. But there was one, it was an island that started with an A, and I never heard of this. And I looked it up, and this island was like 4 square miles. And I was like, holy cow, people live on this island? It was like way out in the middle of nowhere on the map. And that was a really cool contact. So then I started Googling and researching about that island and the history on it and stuff like that. And how the people live there on a 4 square mile island or whatever it is. And what they do, how many times a year they get deliveries and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. So that's, about my contacts. Are you using that 7300? No, I don't have a 7300. you know, because you're live, I'll give you a little tease. I'm buying a new HF radio soon. I have to. I've rewarded myself. I think it's time that'll get me into more HF and live stream and stuff. But I'm trying to determine which one I want. And I always say I'm a Yaesu fan, but it may be an ICOM. I'm not sure. I won't. I'll let you determine or let you watch and see what I get, because I always am a Yaesu fan, but there's something about that 7300 I just love. I might want to have that, and but I'm not using it. No, I borrowed that from Gigaparts, so I don't have a 7300. I just have my plain Jane FT450, and that's all I got. That and a 2-meter Radio Shack mobile that I use. So a couple more here. Let me see. A Packer, and always try to go light. That's cool. I love HF Packers. I've used NFED. Yeah. So those guys, they go on top of a mountain and they backpack or whatever. If that's what you're talking about, trying to do, backpacking on the air or whatever. That's so cool. I remember when you're putting your antenna up in that thunderstorm. I'm trying to think of when that was now. Remind me, John, on which antenna that was. I don't exactly remember when I put it up in a thunderstorm. Unless I'm having a brain fart. Let's see. When I had my Novice, I had just put up a tri-bander with 5 elements, each on 10 and 15, 3 on 20. Made sideband contact with Tom Christian on Pitcairn Island, long path. Pretty cool. I don't know where that is. I'll have to look that up. There's probably so many countries I've never even heard of and never even seen before that I didn't even know. I guess maybe I should check into more on the D expeditions, and work more of those stations. I could learn more about geography and where those stations are and stuff. Did I sell my MCHF? Yes. I had to fund other projects to keep me busy because I am a broke working individual. So I sold that. I sold my FT817, which was sad to go. I sold my X108G, and I have my X5105, which I'll have to say, I got the side cover off here. Something's going on with it. Charging circuit's not working. But rather than send it back or bash the unit, I'm actually investing in a LiPo charger for the LiPo battery, and I'm going to drill a DC jack in here, connect it to the battery, and charge it externally. Because I like this radio with the battery in there and the tuner and HF and HF through 6 meters. I like it. So 5-watt QRP, that's what I'm running. And I use that with HRD now with PSK. So I kind of, had to offload the ones I didn't need or couldn't use anymore or needed money for, and that's what I kept. Let's see. Mutiny on the Bounty Descendant. Not sure what that means. Unless that's pertaining to your previous comment. Answer questions live stream like this are great. Keep up the live streams. Yep. Definitely. I'll be doing this more often. I figured when I scheduled this after Thursday, I thought so many people said, well, we have some questions and do some live stream. And I thought, wow, it was already under 30-something minutes. So let's save it for another one. We'll do a questions and answers. So I think maybe I'll organize it a little bit more. Maybe we'll have email me the questions that you'd want at to my email, either on my HamRadioConcepts email or my personal email, and I'll try to pick out some and answer them. But I like doing them live too. You get a little bit more interaction, feeling like you. If you have something that's a little more in depth that you want me to research and get prices on, I want to buy my next HF rig. I want to spend this much money. I want this, and I can do a little more research determining what I've used and what I haven't used and see online, and then address it online. But if you have something quick, we'll do it here. The 991A is great. I love it. Definitely a good radio. Let's see. Descendant of Fletcher Christian who stumbled upon. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to look up that contact you made and see where that's at. We're at 54 minutes, so without my eye being irritated here, if you can't tell, I've been rubbing it. My eye is very irritated, so I'm probably going to cut it short with 54 minutes. Didn't think I would be this long on live stream. 50 people average watching, and hopefully it answered some questions. I don't expect the video to be an absolute hit on my channel as far as in the future, people watching this, because they might not have an interest in watching what you had to ask for a question, but it's going to stay there, and you know, I will definitely work on more live, and we'll hopefully I can get better camera angles, and I really want to do the live on air, and then maybe I can call you on air, you know, on the HF, and also chat with you at the same time. That'll make me a busy beaver for sure. So thank you everyone for watching 55 minutes. We will close this live stream event. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. Email me if you have an in-depth question so I can break it down and give you a good answer online. And more importantly, I'll probably post the 80-meter video tomorrow morning. I have it ready now. I'll just wait. So keep an eye on that. Watch the other ones. Please spread the word. Share the other live stream video I did. Share this, or no, don't have to share this one, but share the other live stream video about what makes a good ham radio operator. We need to get that out there. We need to get that for the new people watching so they can watch that first. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you for your support and everything. And I hear the wife talking to the parrot in there, so I better go see what she's up to. 7-3 from KJ4YZI.